Glenn Steinbaum. You may not know his name, but you've definitely heard his voice.
Step into a world of magic and wonder. See Disney's Aladdin, rated PG, in theaters May 24th.
Glenn's voice is part of a cultural staple, the movie trailer voiceover. From kids' films,
This Christmas, Disney's Moana is the animated movie event of the season and the biggest adventure since Frozen.
to Academy Award-winning movies,
Bohemian Rhapsody, rated PG-13.
he's dedicated his life to a craft that, at its surface, seems simple enough. But dig deeper, and you'll see movie trailer voiceovers are a true art form and a rigorous trial by fire.
You could pour your blood and sweat and tears into this business and get nothing in return. And I tell people, like, if you can imagine yourself doing anything else with your life, you should go do that.
I'm Doug Fraser, and this is What We Do, where we'll meet the people behind the most intriguing passions, hobbies, and jobs around the world. The movie trailer has shifted over the years, with auteur filmmakers like Alfred Hitchcock taking their own unique approach. In this trailer for his film Psycho, Hitchcock not only ditched the voiceover that was so commonly used, he also chose to include zero footage from the actual film.
Good afternoon.
Instead, he elected to give a tour of the film's set, baiting the audience with slivers of the movie's plot, as though he were describing actual events too horrific to tell in full details.
She came out of the door there and met the victim at the top. Of course, in a flash, there was the knife, and in no time, the victim tumbled and fell with a horrible crash. I think the back broke immediately and hit the floor. It's difficult to describe the way that the twisting of the. Well, I won't dwell upon it. Come upstairs.
As ingenious as it was, Hitchcock's 6.5-minute trailer for Psycho wouldn't fly in today's market. Trailers, like the movies they promote, are constantly evolving.
In a world.
Coming this summer.
Coming soon.
Coming soon.
Coming to you soon.
Coming soon.
To a theater near you. The best movie you've ever seen.
Now, my friends were nice enough to give it a shot, but when you hear their impressions next to Glenn, there are some clear differences. The biggest of which is how his voice can immediately convey the tone of a story.
June 24th.
What is this beach called?
This is paradise.
The attack is just the beginning.
I come from a family of big, emotive people, and I have learned that that is not as effective a way of communicating as being subtle. I used to be so big in my reads, and it didn't sound authentic. You know, it sounded like someone trying, and I was trying too hard to feel a certain way and to tell you how you should feel. But once I kind of learned the art of subtlety and what you can do with very little, I just sort of let you react. I give you a little bit and you take a lot from it.
I love your act. The part where you fall flat on your face.
Are you okay? Oh, yes, I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
This Christmas, from the creators of Despicable Me, comes the Laugh Out Loud, Feel Great movie event of the holiday season. Sing.
What separates a good voice actor from a great one?
I think that you really have to be vigilant about what the trends are in advertising, and you have to make sure that your sound is adaptable. Back in the day, it used to be all about the announcer, and they wanted a big, booming announcer voice to tell you what to buy and what to watch, what movies to see.
Against this fascinating background is woven the story of an imperishable love and the enthralling saga of 6 desperate people, each in Casablanca to keep an appointment.
And that's really gone away.
Destiny.
If you watch things now, the announcer is always very flat. I mean, except for like kids movies and stuff.
Like this trailer Glenn did for Ralph Breaks the Internet.
It's official. Ralph is breaking the internet.
Good job! Work like a charm!
Critics are calling it perfectly fresh, filled with humor, excitement, and heart.
Trailer announcers, promo announcers, typically it's very flat read, like not a lot of emotion. They just want it to sound like a dude talking to you, not selling you anything.
Grandma, rated R. Testament of Youth, rated PG-13. Now playing only in theaters. The Lady in the Van. rated PG-13.
So if you were an announcer for very many years and doing well, but you can't change that to fit in with today's market, you're not going to hack it. And the guys that I see have the longest careers, the great ones, versus the good ones, they can be chameleons.
It took Glenn years in the industry to learn that lesson. When he first got serious about voice acting at age 19, he was a very different person, an insecure teenager who had a tough lesson ahead: the art of confidence. In his family, being confident was seen as a sign of arrogance, but there was also an incredibly high standard of expectations that had no gray area.
The attitude was more like, well, if you want to, be in entertainment, you're either George Clooney or you're nothing. So why would you even try? So I think I went into this with this guard up and this initial feeling of, I don't really know if I'm going to make this work. That's a recipe for failure. You have to go into it thinking that you're the hottest commodity out there. If you didn't grow up with that kind of confidence, you have to learn how to have it.
And so, as he was becoming a voice actor, he was learning how to be confident, all the while learning how to become an adult. Through the years, each life experience would slowly shape not only who he'd become as a person, but also as an actor.
I'm a different actor than I was because I'm a different person than I was. I've had different experiences, and you draw on life experiences, and I never knew what people meant when they said that. Like, they said, oh, you have to make it real, draw on real personal experience. And I had no idea how to do that, what they meant. I was being too analytical about it. It's something that you can't put into words. It's just, you've had that experience and that has affected who you are. You can't fight that because it's just the truth. And the better you know yourself, the better your work will be, because all your work is a representation of your truthful self.
From the youngest fan to the oldest fan, there's been one constant. Every Blues fan has been waiting for this moment. Through the anguish and the anticipation, this moment.
To continue to be a sought-after voiceover actor, Glenn takes his talents across other mediums, where he strays from the flat read of the movie trailer.
Dawn breaks as a hero rides to town. His skin crispied and golden, yet something tender lies within.
Stream The Final Four live with CBS All Access.
And a new world in bloom. We felt hope. We were wrong.
He even dabbles a bit in video games. Here, he takes the role of BT, an unknowingly funny robot sidekick in the award-winning game Titanfall 2.
What a hot streak.
Your vitals do not indicate a temperature problem. Do you wish for me to investigate this hot streak sensation further?
He purposely doesn't book many gaming gigs these days, partly because the demand on his vocal cords can put him out of commission for other jobs.
When I used to do more video games, and I would be in Halo and those types of games.
Halo is a military science fiction first-person shooter, so lots of guns going off, explosions, and general carnage.
I'd play soldiers who would die, and those recording sessions would be 4 hours of different ways that my character dies. And so it's like they hand you this 50-page script, and it's like, now you get stabbed with a machete, now you get stabbed with a dagger, now you get stabbed with a dagger that's on fire, now you're just on fire, now you're on fire falling from a building. And it's just all these different screams. And by the end of that, you are so fried. You are so done.
Have you ever had a vocal cord injury from those days where it's just really taxing on you?
I mean, nothing that I've gone to the doctor for, but yeah, after I do a game like that, I have no voice. Like, I've totally lost my voice. I can't speak. And that was when it really started to dawn on me, like, I have to be selective about what I do.
For Glenn, the type of work that suits him best is movie trailer voiceovers. The reasons are pretty straightforward. It's not much work in terms of the hours he puts in, and it pays well. Really well.
Bohemian, a lot of those spots that I did, all I did was say Bohemian Rhapsody, rated PG-13, And I may have recorded a lot of other things, but in their testing, they were like, yeah, let's just let the music of Queen drive this spot and then have the voice come in at the end. So there wasn't really a ton of work for that. I did radio spots. Obviously, if it's on the radio, I have a lot more to say. Whenever they're talking about review spots, like critics are calling Bohemian Rhapsody one of the best films of the year, that kind of thing. There will always be a lot of voice on those types of spots. Or like now, we just finished up doing some Academy Award stuff since it's nominated for all the awards. So you always have a lot of work during award season if the film is nominated. When it comes out, if it does well, they'll cut a lot of review spots.
Critics everywhere are raving about the movie Fences. It's one of the best films of the year. Call Me By Your Name, far and away the best movie of the year.
To be honest with you, it's not that much work in terms of hours. That's why this business is so appealing to a lot of people as an outsider looking in, because if I were to tell you the amount of time that I spent recording versus the amount of money they pay me, you would want to shoot me in the face. It's not fair. But the thing is, it's such hard work to get, I am always competing with really, really great guys. It's always a total hustle to get these jobs, and it's tough. There's a joke of how many voiceover guys does it take to screw in a light bulb? 2. One to screw it in and one to say, I could have done that.
When Glenn explains his job to his friends, they don't always fully understand.
The most fun thing that'll happen is that, if I'm at a party and they have the TV on or something, I'm trying to tell them what I do, and then something of mine comes on. I'm like, oh, listen, so that's me right there.
Golden Globe winner Julianne Moore's performance is flawless, mesmerizing, pitch perfect.
I am not suffering. I am struggling.
Still Alice, rated R.
So then they get it, and then they think then I'm like a freaking celebrity or something for, something that is not, to me, it's not a big deal, but to them, it's like I may as well be Brad Pitt or something.
That sense of celebrity quickly vanishes when Glenn visits LA. In a town where so many people are clamoring for the spotlight, a sense of hierarchy is created. Often, others view voice actors as being near the bottom of that hierarchy.
When I'm in LA and I tell people what I do, people either assume that I'm really just like a bartender and I'm trying to do voiceover, because that's what most people are, or they just sort of roll their eyes and like, ugh, another one of those. But if you let that tear you down, then you're not going to survive. There's a reason people say if you get into entertainment, you have to have a thick skin, because you're going to get shat on. I mean, I got shat on, dude, all the time. You just have to let it roll off and be like, you know what? Keep trying, maybe somebody will like me. And that's what starts to happen. Once you start booking, even a little bit at a time, you start realizing that, hey, somebody wants to work with me. If one person does, other people will too.
Partly to get away from the negativity that can encapsulate a life in LA, Glenn lives about 2 hours west in Santa Barbara. It's a lifetime away from the lights and lavish lifestyles of the rich and famous. The chaos of the industry, however, is with him at all times.
Overall, I've got the best job in the world. But I'd say the 2 things that are the hardest about the business are having to be essentially on call 24/7, never knowing when you're going to be needed, and the rejection.
Though Glenn's skin is thickened since becoming a full-time voice actor in 2011, rejection isn't without impact.
The only way that you could ever want to deal with that is if you can't imagine yourself doing anything else with your life.
And for a good part, voiceover is his life. It's an on-call job that pulls him away at a moment's notice.
I can't leave a movie studio hanging, because when they want you immediately. If I say I'm not available for 2 hours, that's going to piss them off.
Really? So when you say immediately, like, okay, let's get in the booth right now and record.
Yeah. I don't even get calls from my manager or agent anymore. It's all over text. And they'll text me, be like, hey, just want to make sure you're around. We're going to get a Bohemian script in.
As in Bohemian Rhapsody.
I'm like, yeah, I'm around. I'm in the house. So they'll email me the script and they expect it back, ideally within 30 minutes.
How do you deal with that with wanting to go to the grocery store and getting in traffic or something that may happen?
That's a really good question. And that is one of the tougher things to deal with in this business, especially if you're married with children. I have a 1.5 and 3-year-old. My wife and I, we don't know when I'm going to be needed. So from 9 to 5, when a normal person would be really busy, I could be totally dead. And then once 6 p.m. hits, and my wife is a full-time mom right now. So once she's had the children all day and is exhausted, and she's like, hey man, can you like wash them so I can cook dinner, or can you help out with bath time and bedtime? I'm like, yeah, let's do it. And then all of a sudden I put them in the bath and I get a text message that I have to go immediately. That happens all the time.
On the occasion that he and his wife step out for dinner, it's with the knowledge that at any time he could get a text from his agent, and the night is over.
This happened last week. We had a date night, got a babysitter, sat down, ordered a drink, boom, I got a text I had to go back home.
The last vacation Glenn took where he didn't have to work was in 2014. He recently went on a trip with his family to Mammoth Mountain, California. And sure enough, he got a text from his manager.
I only had to record one line while I was there, so it wasn't that big of a deal. But it's still like, okay, I gotta like build some sort of sound fort in this Airbnb we're staying in, you know, and like figure out what's gonna sound good. It has to match the audio that I previously recorded because they just added something to something I had done the week before. So it's just stressful, and you don't want to think about that shit when you're on vacation, and like you got to make sure the kids are being quiet and stuff.
As demanding and intrusive as the industry can be, Glenn never loses sight of just how lucky he is.
This doesn't work for so many people who want it to happen. Most people who want to do what I do don't get to. So the fact that I do is such a gigantic gift.
To meet the needs of the industry, Glenn has to have a recording booth close at hand. Rather than drive to a studio, he records from the comfort of his home. Living in a new housing development, the construction noise makes it nearly impossible. And his 2 young children are another sound variable he can't account for. In order to work from home, he had a recording booth shipped over from Spain. When he steps in and closes the door, it's total silence. In this moment, every lesson Glenn's learned about himself in the industry, versatility, confidence, unwavering flexibility, congeal into a performance that'll soon be heard by millions. But even with it all, on occasion he looks back on projects and feels he could have done better.
Maybe that's something I'll always have, and maybe that's something that's important to have because it keeps you hungry and it keeps you wanting to get better.
As Glenn's Hollywood story continues, not only does he embrace the shifts in voiceover trends, he thrives on them. In doing so, he's made a career of unceasing adaptation. It's do or die. Be available or perish. After all, there are countless others clamoring for his position. Being comfortable isn't an option, because as he's well aware,
In this town,
That can all change like that.
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, in theaters July 26th.
Hey, it's Doug. Thanks so much for listening. When you get a chance, would you mind leaving a rating and review for the show? It only takes a few seconds and it's a huge help. There are a ton of fun episodes coming up, so be sure to subscribe so you don't miss any. To watch a video version of the series, head over to facebook.com/whatwedodocs. Until next time, stay curious.